It's now 5 o'clock. I will call the meeting of the WISD Board of Trustees to order. Please let the record show that all 7 trustees are present. This meeting has been duly called and the notice of the meeting has been duly posted for time and manner required by law. It is now 5 p.m. We will go into closed session according to section 551.001 et sec of the Texas Government Code. reconvene back into open session. At this time, I'm going to ask Mr. Avenshaw to lead us in an invocation, followed by Ms. Krieger with our pledges.
Dear Heavenly Father, thank you so much for the opportunity to come together tonight to make good decisions for your children. Please just guide us, guide all the leaders here, and guide everyone who works here, guide us all so that we may do for your children what you would have us do, that we may fulfill your purpose, Lord. We just pray that you give us strength to make wise decisions, make good decisions, and we're just so thankful, Lord, for this year that we're going to get to celebrate so many wonderful accomplishments, and we get to do that tonight. We get to do that over the course of the next several weeks, Lord. We're just thankful. Lord, please be with the Schoolfield family who recently lost Taylor Schoolfield's mother. Bless them and be with them in their time of loss, and just be with all of us, Lord. Just guide us, strengthen us, and use us for your purpose. We love you. We praise you. We thank you, Lord. We praise in your name and your Son, Jesus Christ, Lord. Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Okay, we're going to go.
Good evening, board. As you noted, we do have a very big group of people here. I think pretty much everyone is here for recognitions. And it's great that we have so many people doing awesome stuff in our district. So the first person I'd like to invite up is Dr. Philip Morgan to do some fine arts and UIL recognitions.
Thank you, Mrs. Bridges. All right. Dr. Kane, board members, Dr. Averett, tonight we gather to recognize some of the most outstanding fine arts and UIL academic students in Waxahachie ISD and across the state. These scholars have surpassed basic expectations and have pushed on for state and national recognition in their respective areas. First, tonight I have the pleasure of announcing a cluster of board resolutions, which are public honors designated by you, the trustee, to large group qualifiers and achievers across our department programs. First, recognizing the Waxahachie High School UIL State Cheerleading Team. The Waxahachie High School cheerleading team at the 2021 UIL State Spirit Championships, they executed powerfully at the state finals, earning significant accolades and finishing 11th place in the state for Conference 6A. The Waxahachie ISD Board extends sincere congratulations to all members of the UIL competition cheerleading squad and their directors, Mrs. Erica Fritz, Ms. Jennifer Hamby, and Mrs. Breland Wright. Your competitive excellence and competitive spirit have brought honor to the school and district. Congratulations.
All right, stay there. We're going to take a picture real quick now. You can take your mask off. So it's
All right. Our second recognition this evening, recognizing the success of the 58th line of the Waxahachie High School Cherokee Charmers drill team and junior varsity maidens. The Charmers and maidens have competed this year in multiple competitions across the state of Texas, capturing multiple team and individual awards in dance ensemble work. Both teams have closed the 2021 competition season, capturing significant accolades at the National Dance and Drill American Dance and Drill Team Championships, including, come on in, including an ADTS National Championship in Elite Team Division POM, ADTS National Champions in Medium Division Officer Hip Hop, which if you didn't get to see that one, it was outstanding. It was wonderful. And they were also awarded, which I'm a big fan of grit, and they were awarded the ADTS Gussie Nell Davis Award of Excellence, which is only given to one school at the contest for their excellence, team, and officer performance. Their directors are there under the direction of Mrs. Erica Porter Wilcox and Mrs. Jessica Ramirez. Your efforts, competitive excellence, and dance servant leadership in the areas have brought us honor to you and your school district. Congratulations, Cherokee Charmers and your officers. Congratulations, Charmers. Next, we'll be recognizing the Findlay Junior High School Concert Choir. At the 2021 UIL Concert and Sight Reading event, the Findlay Junior High Choirs executed a brilliant flurry of concert and sight reading evaluation, earning significant accolades and establishing a tradition of excellence as they took sweepstakes in the non-varsity tenor bass chorus. Their director is joining us tonight. There she is right there. Grace, come on up. This year, Findlay Junior High with their concert choir and their director, Miss Grace Nelson, masterful instruction, competitive excellence, and commitment in the area of concert and sight reading. You brought honor to the district. Congratulations with this resolution. Very nice job. Absolutely, thank you. Now we recognize the success of the Waxahachie High School Concert Choirs for the 2021 UIL and Concert Reading Evaluation. The Waxahachie High School Choirs executed a brilliant 2021 C&SR, earning significant accolades and establishing a tradition of excellence, carrying 6 varsity, non-varsity, and sub-non-varsity choirs to contests for the first time in our district's history. Of those, we congratulate you on the following achievements. Directors, if you'll come on up. Varsity Mixed Choir, sweepstakes. Varsity tenor bass men's choir, sweepstakes. Varsity treble chorus, sweepstakes. Non-varsity treble chorus, sweepstakes. Sub-non-varsity treble chorus, sweepstakes. And we also, I believe, had a concert award in our 6th choir as well. Our directors at the Waxahachie High School Choral Department are Mrs. Carrie Forehand and Mrs. Cassie Arrington. Congratulations on a fantastic UIL concert season. It was pretty outstanding to see all the trophies. I know y'all wanted to bring them tonight, but that would be a whole lot to carry, so excellent work.
Thank you.
Next, we'll recognize the success of the Coleman Junior High concert bands. Come on in, directors. I believe they're bringing hardware with them. Absolutely. Coleman Junior High bands executed a brilliant 2021 concert and sight reading season, achieving a varsity band sweepstakes award and a non-varsity band sweepstakes award, carrying first division ratings across both areas of the evaluation. Directors of the Coleman Junior High Band Program are Mr. David Ingram and Mr. Armando Vera. Congratulations, Coleman. Congratulations. Next, we will recognize the Findlay Junior High Band. Findlay, there we go. Recognizing the success of the Findlay Junior High concert bands in the 2021 UL concert and sight reading season, also bringing their hardware tonight. Our directors, Ms. Laura Seal and Mr. John Pickett. The bands under their direction earned a varsity band sweepstakes award and a non-varsity band sweepstakes award. Congratulations, directors. Please extend those to your students. Excellent job. All right, there we go. And the Howard Junior High School concert bands in the 2021 concert and sight reading evaluation. The Howard Junior High bands, under the direction of Ms. Courtney Davis and Mrs. Macy Lee, representing here tonight, brought home a Varsity Band Sweepstakes Award in the 2021 concert and sight reading. Congratulations to directors and your students. Next, we will recognize the Waxahachie High School concert bands for the 2021 UIL concert and sight reading evaluation. The Waxahachie High School bands hosted and executed the 2021 concert and sight reading contest, earning significant accolades and extending their excellence of tradition in the concert and sight reading setting. Additionally, each director worked carefully with his designated ensemble to ensure high-quality sight reading instruction. The band is being recognized tonight under the direction of Mr. Rich Armstrong, Mr. Justin Bell, Mr. Reggie Cook, and Mr. Parker Davis for concert and sight reading. The band took 3 sweepstakes awards: a concert band sub-non-varsity sweepstakes, a symphonic band non-varsity sweepstakes, and the wind ensemble varsity sweepstakes awards. Congratulations, directors, and congratulations to your students. And directors and board members, if y'all would stay put for just a second, we're actually going to transition into our individual recognition, which is a bit ironic because we have a large individual group to recognize right now. Thank you. The Falls Marching Contest, I'm going to watch Mr. Armstrong's face to see if my words actually match this. Here we go. This Falls Marching Contest landscape was bleak, disjointed, and not what we expected at all. But the spirit of Waxahachie Indian Band, however, was not any of those. Conversely, they were well prepared, aggressive, and tenacious in their pursuit of another state berth in UIL marching, specifically with the loss of BOA circuit contests. Our band ascended the mountaintop in a COVID year, besting hundreds of other 6A programs to end up at the UIL state marching contest again in San Antonio at the Alamo Dome. Here to recognize, or be recognized rather, with a 7th place in Conference 6A finish at the state marching contest, the Spirit of Waxahachie Indian Band. Please also welcome our drum majors tonight who are with us. Liliana Armstrong, our head drum major, could not be here. She's being recognized at another event, a dinner tonight. With us tonight, we do have drum major Johnny Fuller and Juvenile Rangrej, both drum majors of the band. The directors of the Spirit of Waxahachie are Rich Armstrong, Justin Bell, Mr. Reggie Cook, Mr. Parker Davis. Color guard directors are Mrs. Denise Armstrong and Mr. Roman Montoya. Congratulations, drum majors, on a 7th place finish and a brilliant run at the state contest in a very challenging year. We are proud of your accomplishments and continued success. Excellent job. Art? We're going to do art first. Art first, yeah. Each year, ladies and gentlemen, the Texas Art Educators Association hosts regional level competitions. Congratulations. On 2D and 3D visual arts that is open to students in multiple categories and conferences. Tonight, the department brings to you state award winners from our visual arts program. We recognize the students and teachers listed below for achieving superior honors in the 2021 VACE contest at state. First recognee, from Waxahachie High School, a senior and state qualifier to the 2021 VACE contest under the direction of teacher Daniel Smith, Michaela Gates. And joining Michaela, also from Waxahachie High School, a 10th grader and a 2021 state qualifier for VACE in the 3D division under his teacher Mary German. Not only a state qualifier, which is quite an accomplishment, but 10% or less of the state finalists are awarded a state championship, which is designated as the Gold Seal. And Jacob Keaton, a sophomore at Waxahachie High School, is one of those state champions in 3D art. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Jacob Keaton. If you stand too close, you might get some of the glare off that really nice gold seal he's got there around his neck. So congratulations, Michaela and Jacob. Excellent job. Congratulations. All right. Dance. We have Miss Dance. There we go. Yep, there she comes. All right. In January of 2021, the Texas Dance Educators Association named one of our Cherokee Charmers to the 2021 TDEA All-State Dance roster. This dancer currently serves as our current captain of the Charmers and continues to set a brilliant example for the team. Please help me recognize her for this honor, Miss Eleanor Bearden. Ms. Bearden is coached by Head Director of the Charmers, Mrs. Erica Pointer-Wilcox, and Assistant Director, Mrs. Jessica Ramirez. Congratulations. All right. They've been waiting so patiently, but I promise we've saved a good one for the end of our recognition. In April, UIL academic students from across Texas competed at the UIL Region Academics Meet in Mansfield ISD for 6A and Stephen F. Austin State University in Nacogdoches for 3A. Of those contest entries, the league trimmed the field to the top 12 individual qualifiers in the entire state of Texas for their conferences, including Waxahachie High School and Waxahachie Global High School students. First, for recognition from Waxahachie High School, our 11th grader, our UIL Regional Editorial Writing Champion, and our UIL Regional Silver Medalist in Headline Writing, who then parlayed that into a state bronze medal third place finish in the state in editorial writing, coached by Chrisanna Mielik. Ladies and gentlemen, please recognize our state third place finisher, Maven Navarro. She had a good dinner. Okay. All right. And we'll go back and we'll pick up Waxahachie Global. Global, come on in. Our first recognition from Global High School, an 11th grader, the UIL Regional Bronze Medalist and state qualifying in spelling and vocabulary. Sponsored with her UIL coach, Stephanie Ramsey, Miss Chloe Baldwin, ladies and gentlemen. Chloe Baldwin. Congratulations, Chloe. Come on in, our next medalist. Our next medalist is from Waxahachie Global High School. Her season actually is not over just quite yet, but it definitely started off with a bang. I know because I've been honored to be able to work with her this year. Very nice, nice job. She is your UIL Regional Bronze Medalist in prose interpretation, and she is your UIL Regional Champion in extemporaneous persuasive speaking, which I know Mr. Avenshine can appreciate. There we go. She is a UIL double state qualifier in prose and extemporaneous speaking and will host virtually the state meet via SpeechWire at the end of May. Her coaches in both of the events are Stephanie Ramsey and Rollin Mays. Please welcome your double state qualifier for 2021, Ashante Fairley. There you go.
Or I can share mine with you.
There you go. I have no doubt that she's going to be in the top 3, if not the state champion in multiple events. So I'm just saying, I'm putting it out there. I'm putting it out there. Now that might be a challenge. There we go. Congratulations, Ashanti. Very nice job, my dear. It is worth noting that our UL academic coaches and students are under the direction of Megan Mills at Waxahachie High School and Jenny Kofer at Global. The Global High School academic team finished 3rd in District 9 3A and 11th in Region 2 3A. The Waxahachie High School academic team finished 2nd in District this year, up from 5th, and they finished 3rd in the region for Region 2 6A, accumulating 111 points to claim the bronze. Thank you to our board, our campus administration, and teams for your continued support in person and via social media, thank you all, of our academic programs. Congratulations to all of our students.
Okay, I would like to invite Stephanie Foster, principal of Northside Elementary, to come up for a recognition.
Good evening, board and Dr. Kane. Funny story, so the person I'm recognizing tonight thinks they're here recognizing me. That's how we got them here. I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to celebrate a difference maker from the Northside campus tonight, Miss Alicia Matthews. Come on down. Miss Matthews doesn't do any of it for recognition, an award, or her name on any big flashy signs, which is why we had to trick her into being here tonight. She simply does what she does because she loves kids. She is a master math teacher and truly understands what it means to engage kids academically and emotionally. If you don't do math, you go see Miss Matthews, and she has some magical way of showing you in a new mind-blowing way that makes complete sense. In fact, many times I sit through her mini math lessons and ponder what we could accomplish if every kid had a math teacher like her. She truly has a gift. I have seen her take the most struggling students and make them a success story. Ms. Matthews is not only one of the best teachers I have ever seen in action, she is also an exemplary employee, the type of employee that shows up to every school event to volunteer with a smile, the type that quietly goes the extra mile expecting nothing in return, and the employee that hears my vision for our campus and lives it by example every day. Many staff members look up to her and respect her greatly, including myself. She is absolutely irreplaceable. I consider myself so fortunate to get to work alongside and learn from Ms. Matthews on a daily basis. Thank you for your tireless devotion to Waxahachie.
All right, next I'd like to invite Ken Lynch, principal of Global High School, to come up.
Good afternoon, Dr. Kane, school board, Mr. Martell. Tonight, we'll be giving Mr. Martell the Spirit of the Wolf Award. At Global High, our mascot is the wolf, and our school creed states that we believe in ourselves and each other, in the power of teamwork and giving back to the school and community. These are all traits of a wolf. Wolves travel in packs. They depend on the community. Wolves share their knowledge, their hunting strategies, and techniques. They know their strength is in the pack. Mr. Martell is always there to share knowledge with the rest of the Global family, whether it is teaching his class or helping a student get logged into Canvas, building a presentation for the counselor, putting announcements on the campus televisions, covering for a period for a teacher who is out, or volunteering for prom duty. Mr. Martell is a vital member of the pack. It's no wonder that Mr. Martell was voted Teacher of the Year by his peers. Congratulations, Mr. Martell, for being the spirit of the wolf.
Next, we'll have Greg Reed, our Director of Athletics.
I'm going to ask Kathy Robertson to join me up here tonight. Hi, Kathy. Hi. I kind of tricked her into being here, so she doesn't know what's going on. So it's an honor to be around so many honorees this evening, and another one of those is our athletic secretary, Kathy Robertson. Kathy has been the only athletics secretary in Waxahachie ISD since 1993, when the position was actually created for her when Jerry McLemore became the athletic director after retiring from football at that time. Since then, she's been the only person. She's been downstairs in this building. She's been in the multi-purpose center. She's now been at Lumpkin Stadium. I believe she's did some time at Wyoming on the 3rd floor. Safety and security, many different hats she's worn as a secretary, but we're so grateful that we have her. Kathy is all business, and that's the great thing about her is she gets things done timely and orderly and efficiently. The day I walked into the job, she put a stack of papers, I'm no kidding, this tall, and they were purchase orders, and she told me to sign them. I didn't know what I was signing, but she knew what the business was at hand. But besides all that, the most important thing is she's very relational. All of our coaches know to go to her when they need something done. She's always there for us. If she's not there, we call her and she shows up. But I think of all the great things she's done, how you treat people along the way of doing great things is equally as important as doing the great things. And Kathy she emblemizes that every day that she comes to work. So I'm so grateful for her, Kathy, and for that we're going to present you with the Waxahachie ISD Athletics Shining Star Award, and you well deserve.
Well, board, we have just a few more people to recognize this evening. I would like to invite our district teacher, rookie, and support staff of the year honorees to come up this evening. So, board, as I'm sure you know, each campus selects a teacher, a rookie, and a support staff member of the year. Those folks then go on to the district level competition, and we were so excited a couple weeks ago to get to surprise all of these ladies on their campuses to let them know that they are our district-wide winners. So Norma Tosh teaches dual language kindergarten at Wedgeworth Elementary, and she's our elementary teacher of the year. Anna Loden is a teacher and coach at Howard Junior High, and she's our secondary teacher of the year. Amy Jensen is the librarian at Findlay Junior High, and she's our support staff member of the year. And Megan Reynolds teaches first grade at Felty Elementary. She's our rookie teacher of the year, and she is carrying on a great tradition for educators and her family. She is the granddaughter of Thelma Morgan, who was beloved by many throughout our district, so this is very, very special for her. So, congratulations. We're very, very proud of all of you. Thank y'all for being here tonight. Can we get your picture real quick? Board, Dr. Kane is going to give our last award this evening.
At the end of each school year in May, we give one and only one Heart of the Warrior Award. In my 43 years in education, I have not experienced a school year like the one we are now finishing. Because of COVID, we have had to implement many new processes and procedures to ensure the health of students and staff members. I'm proud to say that our students did not miss a single day of school this year due to COVID. A huge part of that success is owed to one group in particular, our custodial staff. These hardworking staff members spend hours each day cleaning and sanitizing every surface on every campus in the district, all day, at night, several times during the day. They often go unnoticed, but WISD could not function without them, as they are a vital part of everything we do. I would like to invite our lead custodian, Miss Ruthie Belize, up to accept the 2021 Heart of the Warrior Award on behalf of all of our custodians. While this overall award will reside in the Support Services Office, each district custodian will receive a medal as a token of our thanks. Thank you, Ms.
Thank you so much, Board.
The next item on our agenda is our open forum. This is the portion of the board meeting where the board receives input from our patrons. Each person who addresses the board will have 5 minutes to speak on his or her issue. Because of posting requirements of the Open Meetings Act, board members will not ask questions of the patron nor answer any questions posed by the patron. No action can be taken on any issue presented during the patron comment section of the board meeting. Patrons addressing the board will be notified when they are approaching the last 60 seconds of their allotted time. When I call your name, please step forward to the podium. It's Amy Hedke. Thank you. I need you to state your name and address for the record, please, and I will let you know when you have approximately 1 minute left remaining to speak.
Hi, guys. Amy Hedke, 106 Vanderbilt. Taxes are too high. Residents need tax relief. I am one of those people who will never vote yes on bond proposals because I foundationally oppose taking money from neighbors using government force. But I can tell you, again, what makes it more difficult for someone like me to kill your bonds. As the Daily Light printed after the 2017 bond defeat, Amy Hedke gave an impassioned speech in regards to the recently failed $78 million bond package, often informing the board they have lost $78 million in trust. She asked for the board to slash the tax rate, rein in spending, revamp the hiring practices and salary levels, begin showing accountability and transparency, and encourage the community to start a capital building fund for a new elementary school. All of that still applies, except it never was applied. And you've gone from losing $78 million in trust to losing $127 million in trust. You barely passed one elementary school bond in 2018 by less than a couple hundred votes and had to violate electioneering laws to do so. We had several people block walking but didn't have to do much convincing. We just kicked the bumper of the bond bus as you were accelerating towards the cliffs of insanity. The first major setback was trying to convince people that the plain language on the ballot didn't really apply to Waxahachie ISD. But it does apply, which is why you were required to put it there. You are Groucho Marx asking the public, who are you going to believe, me or your lion eyes? Second, promising no tax rate increase. You can't speak for future boards, not legally, not morally. Stop making promises you know you can't keep. Third, the claims that the appraisal district is to blame for the property tax increases. That's false. You will have a special meeting on August 30th. The appraisal district will notify you what the tax rate needs to be to not increase the amount of money taken from residents. You will, again, refuse to adjust the tax rate enough to offset the appraisal notice. Essentially, the district has put a noose around the taxpayer's neck and pulled it tight. Each year, the appraisal district notifies you how much the taxpayer neck has grown and how much slack you need to give it so the taxpayers can still breathe. They tell you that taxpayers need another 3 inches to be able to breathe somewhat comfortably and care for their families. But you choose to keep the rate where it is, giving no slack whatsoever and expecting people to blame the messenger. You might even give them an inch or two and expect people to be grateful, but people need to be able to breathe. Fourth, claims this was a no-frills package, but we had frills in it. After hemorrhaging $125 million on a palatial high school, you wanted to add another $8.9 million for locker rooms, meeting area, and dedicated cheer space. You couldn't even openly admit to the public. You couched it as a vague facilities expansion. Bad move. You were right that you needed to hide it to pass this bond, and people were right to not trust your deception. I suggest that next time you put more specifics on the website. While it is true that most bond propositions pass or fail regardless how they are separated on the ballot, you win a lot with voters by giving them a line item veto option with multiple propositions. Last one isn't so much on y'all as board members, but something to keep in mind as PACs form to support your desired outcomes: transparency and accountability. Most of the Yes PAC funding was from what is called dark money. Current filings show the Yes PAC received $38,000 in donations, $20,000 of that from a group called Pro Public Education LLC. No actual address listed, just Fort Worth. Google shows no info for who is funding this LLC and no group with that name in Fort Worth or anywhere in Texas. There is a return for this LLC in Delaware, conveniently created in March 2021. Setting up a Delaware LLC is fast, cheap, easy, and the best option in the U.S. for legal money laundering. All sorts of people use Delaware LLCs to anonymize their financial transactions.
1 minute.
Dark money. I encourage anyone listening to find out exactly who Pro Public Education LLC is, so residents are assured it's not a Soros-funded group pushing critical race theory and LGBTQ inclusiveness requirements in schools. It also didn't help their case that a major donor to this tax increase election was the law firm that benefits financially from collecting delinquent tax accounts. A big one for me. While Waxahachie ISD might have a good enough education to get kids into college, what we are seeing in Yes PAC videos is children who are being taught to be ungrateful for what their community can provide. A character deficit won't be overcome by a college degree. And finally, since he didn't bother asking me before taking to Facebook, I hope someone will let dear leader in the city of Waxahachie know that this was not a personal vendetta. I've been fighting bonds since 2013. He can send
10 seconds.
Judge. I'm here in Ellis County. Thanks.
Okay, next item on our agenda is the canvassing of the election results. But I will read the canvass of the trustee election first. Whereas the matter to be considered in the canvassing and certification of the results of the Waxahachie ISD Board of Trustee election held Waxahachie, Texas, within Ellis County on May 1st, 2021, for the purpose of adopting or rejecting the results being as follows. Board of Trustees, place 3, Amy Hedke, 1,631 votes. Kim Kriegel, 3,976 votes. Board of Trustee, place 4, John Rogers, 4,230 votes. Board of Trustees, place 5, Melissa Starnader, 4,107 votes. It is therefore ordered, adjudged, and decreed by the Waxahachie Independent School District in Waxahachie, Texas, that these returns be certified. At this time, I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
A motion by Mr. McCutcheon. Is there a second? Ms. Timmerman. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion carries 7-0. Okay, now the canvass of the bond election. The Board of Trustees officially finds and determines that the following votes were cast on the Waxahachie ISD Proposition A by the resident qualified electors of the district. 2,903 votes for, 3,861 votes against. The Board of Trustees officially finds, determines, and declares the result of said election to be that aforesaid Proposition A has not received a favorable majority vote, and therefore Proposition A has failed. At this point, I need a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Schofield, second by Mr. Rogers. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. Motion carries 7-0. Okay. At this time, our newly elected trustees will take their oath of office. Stevenson, Mr. Rogers, Ms. Kriegel, Ms. Starnader, would you please step forward, please?
You will insert your name at the appropriate place. I
Do solemnly swear. That I will faithfully execute the duties. Of the office of School Board Trustee. For the Waxahachie Independent School District of the State of Texas. And will, to the best of my ability. Preserve, protect, and defend. The Constitution and laws of this state. So help me God.
Okay, board, at this time, we will do the organization of the board. At this time, I will entertain nominations for president.
I nominate Dusty Autry for president.
Any other nominations? I'm sorry. At this time, I will entertain nominations for vice president.
Move to nominate Clay Schofield.
Any other nominations? Vice president? Okay, and secretary.
I nominate Melissa Starnader for secretary.
Any other nominations for secretary? Okay. Seeing we only have one nomination for each position, shall we by general consent accept Dusty Autry as president, Clay Schofield as vice president, and Melissa Starnader as secretary? Need a motion.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Schofield, second by Mr. McCutcheon. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries 7-0. All right. Moving on, our next item would be our human resources. James?
Good evening, Board. I would like to ask that you approve the personnel report as presented by the superintendent in closed session. I also ask the Board to approve additional positions as requested. Please approve professional contracts as presented. You approve changes to the stipend schedule for the 2021-22 school year, and approve position title changes as presented.
Any questions for Mrs. James? Okay, at this time, Board, I would entertain a motion to approve item 8A, B, C, D, and E under Human Resources. Motion by Mr. Schofield. Second by Ms. Timmermans. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries 7-0. Thank you very much, James. Okay, moving along under reports. Number A, letter A, first review annual investment report, investment policies. Mr. Calden.
Good evening, Board. Tonight, we have the review of the annual investment report. We'll bring this back in June for your approval. You'll see, starting on page 32 of your packet, all of the funds that we had invested within the district across all of the funds in the various investment pools. Generally, the investment pools are paying a little bit higher interest, a little bit higher return than we're getting in the local banks at this point, with the Fed rate where it is at this point. So in all, we beat the 91-day T-bill average for investment return for the year. We're not necessarily celebrating that, just that was our bellwether standard, and we did exceed that. There are no suggested modifications to the investment policy or strategies for next year. With that, I'll answer any questions.
Questions or comments, Mr. Calden? Should they be bringing that back to us next month for
Yes, sir.
approval? Okay, thank you very much, Mr.
Thank
Calden.
you.
Okay, next item, our principal and residency program. Dr. Averett, it's all yours.
Yes, sir. So WISD was awarded the principal residency grant from TEA this spring. The award allowed for up to 3 principal residents for the 2021-2022 school year. The process for selecting residents for this opportunity was directed by Director of Professional Learning and Grant Acquisition, Ms. Stacy Johnson. Applicants were first screened by a rubric, and 13 teachers of various experience and grade level assignments applied for the residency program and were screened. 7 individuals were selected for interview by a committee of campus administrators and curriculum staff. 3 finalists were selected and interviewed a second time. The final interview committee was comprised of Assistant Superintendent for Elementary Learning, Ms. Mott, Assistant Superintendent for Secondary Learning, David Averett, Stacy Johnson, and 2 representatives from the University of Texas at Tyler. From the 3 finalists, 2 residents were selected. Those 2 residents are Christy Wittenberg. She's currently assigned as a teacher at Northside Elementary. She will be assigned to Wedgeworth Elementary as a principal resident. The other one is Christopher Thompson, currently assigned as a teacher, an algebra teacher at Waxahachie High School, and he has been assigned to Findlay Junior High. Each principal resident will begin their graduate work at UT Tyler this summer.
Any questions or comments about the principal residency program? Dr. Averett?
I'd just like to say that's the first time I've ever given a report and had an applause, so thank you. That felt really good. Can I come back next month?
Thank you very much, sir. Okay, item C, financial impact to fund balance after bond election. I believe that you, Mr. Calden.
Yes, sir. Board denied on page 58 in your books. There's just a report about some expenditures related to the 2021 bond that was in May. Here to answer any questions they may have about it.
Any questions for Mr. Calden?
What's the legal amount of months we have to have of operating expenses? Is it 2 or 3?
It is 90 days, so it's 3 months worth of expenditures.
So
Yes,
we're
sir.
right on the number pretty much?
Yes, sir.
Any fears of it going over, moving forward?
As long as it's a short term with a sound plan to rebuild it back up, there's really not a concern from the bond market. It's really more of a uncontrolled expenditure of fund balance that would get us well below that without a plan to replenish it, that would give cause for our rate to be adjusted.
I know since I've been on the board, that's the tightest I think it's been.
Yes,
Have you
sir.
seen it there before, or?
I know that it's been tighter in years past, but no, sir, not in the last 7 years. This is tightest we've been to that 90-day mark.
Thank you.
I believe also, though, that the state looks not so favorably on us for having too big of a fund balance as well.
That is correct. There have been bills in this legislative session to penalize districts with over 110 days worth of fund balance. So there is a real fine line to not just have excessive fund balances.
So 90 to 110 is the number?
That, at this point, yes. My understanding is that bill didn't get a whole lot of traction, but it's being reintroduced as amendments to other bills all throughout the House and the Senate. So that looks like the bellwether standard at this point, at least from the legislature's opinion.
Okay. So are you advising us to go ahead and spend these funds?
No, ma'am. I'm telling you, those funds have already been spent.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So it's just a summary listing of things that with a successful bond would have been.
Okay, I understand.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I wasn't sure.
So generically speaking, we've got, as long as there's a solid plan in place, we can reimburse ourselves. With these bond expenses, we've got about 36 months. So if a bond were to be approved, we can reimburse ourselves those costs if they're related to those projects. But just specifically in terms of rebuilding fund balance, the state will take its measure, the first report, as of August 31, so the end of this fiscal year. Did I answer your question?
Basically, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. No? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Item D, salary preparation overview and consideration.
We ask Mr. Calden if we could get started a little early, because it seems like salary and budget seems to catch up on us, and at the last minute, it's almost like we haven't given you really prep time. So we're trying a new process. We've already asked you twice for some outlines, and you've given us a lot of good direction. So we're going to set the screen up so that we can look at what we heard you say. Then if you say, well, what if we change that from 2% to 3%, Mr. Calden and Dr. Averett will change that and show you the bottom line. So the first item that was that we would construct new elementary schools with the intent of an 800 student capacity, similar to Wedgeworth. And then we would add wings to existing smaller campuses, Dunaway, Shack, Felty, and Northside, so as to increase capacity. But that would be during a bond election, so that's not something that we would have to worry about this year's budget, but they were two items that the board expressed some preference for. And then there were some self-contained funding requests, like child nutrition, to adjust the salary levels for cafeteria staff to market competitive. As the district's child nutrition program is self-funded, this requires a significant increase in the price of meals, as the child nutrition account is separate fund from that funds all expenses with revenue from operations. So cost to adjust the salary levels would be accomplished adopting the TASB salary survey and would have a proportionate cost for the fund. So did we decide what we would need to raise lunch prices to achieve that?
So we're still looking at it at this point. We're thinking it's going to be in the lunch somewhere in the ballpark of about $3.50 to $4, depending on the campus. Elementary, we would have to look at those increases as well.
So when he gets that determined, we would come back and say, so how much, it would be kind of like this. How much do you want them increased as opposed to how much the threshold you would have actually to charge for lunches, for those who pay for lunch? So until we get that, which will be when about?
So a lot of that will depend on kind of the direction from the board tonight with regard to that salary survey, because it is lumped together as auxiliary in that salary survey. So some of that will have to be broken out as child nutrition, and the rest will be maintenance and custodial and bus drivers, those kind of other auxiliary positions.
But the monies cannot meet.
Correct.
I mean, they're in two separate.
Child nutrition is its own fund.
Okay, so now the following has been prioritized to administration's perception of the importance to the board, okay?
Dr. Kane,
Yes.
what are the current prices for the lunch now? So that way I have an idea of approximate the increase. Are we talking
I
$1?
want to tell you that elementary is $2.70, junior high is right about $3, and
We have the Northside principal.
Do you happen to know what your? I was thinking 275.
it's $2.70 or $2.75.
We got some secondary folks here too.
And secondary is right around 3, and high school, they get a little bit larger portions. It's right around 325 or 330.
So
for a lunch.
approximately 50 cents increase?
Yeah, roughly 50 cents, possibly, that'd be my upper end guess as what we would have to adjust prices.
Mr. Calden, were we able to increase funding this year with 100% of our kids getting food and everything and getting this national money? I mean, how did that affect our fund?
Right now, the fund balance on the child nutrition fund is looking really good. But to answer your question, honestly, it always looks this good right now because they're at the very end of serving meals, and they're going to have a whole summer worth of expenditures and back to school food that they're going to be buying that's going to come out of their account. So right now, it looks really good. It looks like they're turning a profit this year, which is where they need to be. They need to be turning a little bit of a profit, but it's going to be very interesting to see this summer. I know that there are changes that they're having to make with their meal contents due to new federal regulations. So as they order new products and they have, I know that Ms. Bridgers is looking at least a 10% cost increase from the providers that have given her costs for next year. So there are some significant difficulties that she's expecting for next year. So we'll see how we finish this year and see how that gets us into next year.
So we would need to make a decision by the August board meeting?
For meal prices? For meal prices, honestly, we probably need to have it before August, but there's going to be one big caveat. USDA has come back out again and said that they're going to extend free meals for everybody for next year. So in reality, if that happens, we're still waiting on TDA to give us the rules and regulations on how we operate that program, because it can't be what we just did. That was too easy. When TDA gives us those rules, then we will know, it honestly, at that point, will make meal price increases a moot point for next year because we'd be back under all students eating free for the following year. But it would further delay that meal price increase or further increase that meal price increase for the following year.
Once
If
we
we get to
gave
that
it,
point.
we are committed to a certain level of funding once the government starts giving us the free lunch and free breakfast.
That's it.
Okay. So that would be, when we come back that night, we'll kind of look that out. Okay, our expectation is that we're going to have 600 additional students next year. That would give us an available $3,905,000. Okay, so the secondary core class average, the board has expressed that it would like a threshold on what size the classes can be at the secondary of 25 students. With our current staff teaching 7 of 8 periods, this has already been accomplished at Waxahachie High School. Compliments of Ms. Harris. Where's Ms. Harris? Yay. So Ms. Harris was able to do that and make a commitment that that's where those numbers will stay. So that's a zero cost.
Dr. King, can I pause you for 1 second?
Certainly.
Okay, on the screen right now, we have a little worksheet that we can work through. You see 35 in that yellow box for class count. That's because I was showing Dr. Averett earlier how the spreadsheet would work, how we could just plug numbers in. That's not where the high school average is. It's not at 35.
Thank you.
That was just us playing around so that I could show him that it was.
We'll show him how to take it off.
So that it was actually a formula driven, so when he puts in a different number, it completely updates everything so that we can actually play with where you would like for that number to be and have real-time results on the bottom line. So not to give anyone a heart attack, that 35 was just for friends to show that it works.
Thank you for clarifying that, Mr. Calden. I was about to ask.
So that's a check on that one. We got a check on the food. Hire staff with expected growth of 600 students, approximately 28 positions with an estimated cost of $1,960,000. So that has been subtracted and we still have $1,954,000 left from our, reducing it from the additional 600 students coming in. Then another request was to implement the TASB salary survey with an approximate 3% salary increase at a cost of $2.1 million. Now that would count for the general salary increase and it would account for.
You're right. You're going down the right path. And this is a little bit of a misleading thing. When you look at the salary survey, it is a 2% staff increase in salary and a 1% adjustment to ranges, adjustment to salaries. So overall, when you look at the very back of the report, it's page 75, and we actually have it pulled up somewhere. It is, overall, it looks like 3%. That 3% is the increase in our payroll expenditures for the fund. So it's not truly a 3% on the midpoint for all staff. It would be 2% on the midpoint for staff, and 1% of that adjustment is for payroll adjustments within that category, if that part makes sense.
So some
and then
would
the same thing on the 4%.
What percent and some would get other percent?
All staff would get at least 2%, and then those identified in the TASB salary survey as being below market would get an adjustment to market with that 2% on top of it as well.
But the ones above, like we.
The ones above would see their 2%, and they would not see another adjustment.
Okay.
And that's 2.1 million, is that correct?
Yes, sir. 2.1 for the bottom, the lower of the two recommendations.
Okay, and that's at 3%, which puts us down, now we would be, if nothing else changed, we'd be adopting a deficit 154 million in change, actually more like 155 million change. Now, then we kind of split this into that if we go to 4%, because there was some discussion, was it 3%, was it 4%? So we were just going to get both of them. At 4%, we are $754,966 in the whole. That other one was 154,000. So then this rebuilding the safety net fund of which you spoke, we were just looked at the number of 2 million, subtracting that, that we would be a deficit budget if we used a 3% plan of $2,154,966. If we go, did I say 3 or 4% that time?
I think you said 3%
Okay,
that
then the
time.
4% would be $2,754,966. So then there are some salary increases not identified in the salary survey that are like 300. We just put in for 300,000 because sometimes we would bring in somebody and to get the top candidate, we would have to actually pay more than at the midpoint, and some of those inconsistencies that come up. That number would not be bigger, but it could be smaller, and that would go back in. But it's still, yes, ma'am.
Dr. Kane, is that where the anomalies would come in? Is that where the anomalies would come in into the staff salary adjustments?
So the first part, all anomalies identified by TASB would be addressed through that 3 or 4%. So the 2% general staff increase and that 1% that would make that 3, that 1% is for the anomalies. This 300,000 would be for additional anomalies that TASB did not identify, or we've created ourselves, or if we've had issues posting positions and the market is higher than what TASB had identified, that would be what that 300,000
Or if
would
the
be for.
legislature comes up with a new requirement, then we have to have a new person, like we think 3 PEMS people can do it now, but they may put requirements if you have to have another clerk or something.
Okay.
That's just, but if we don't need it, it stays. Then there's additional department budget requests, like the transportation department would like some more buses. The band, we hope to go back to state, and that's additional monies. Increasing,
That was,
increasing services? Or what are some other examples?
there were some other requests, as we kind of get out of COVID, there are going to be some things that we're used to doing in the past that we didn't get to do in the last couple of years. So maybe having, I know that PR has some requests to do some more events and some more.
That's what it was, the events. It was like, we didn't do the Christmas party last year, and we loved having that party, and we spent a lot of money on it because it's such a great thing for our staff to understand how much we really appreciate them, but we would need additional funds for that. Now, we put in $2 million, not for that event, but for a wide array of things. When we go to state, I mean, there's not monies budgeted that we expect everybody to go to state. Well, just from tonight, seeing all the awards that we got, some of those things require additional budgets that are not in the director's budgets or in the program's budget. We're happy to write those checks because it means our kids are just outperforming everybody. So if you accept those premises, and the 3% plan would put us with a $4,414,000 deficit. The 4% plan would put us at a $5,054,000 deficit. So my question was, if it's okay to adopt a deficit budget and you are restating, yes, you heard us, thank you, check mark, then we know what to do other than identifying do you want 3 or 4%. But if your intention is not to adopt a deficit budget, then you would say, okay, back to the drawing board, less here, less here, less here, and let us bring those numbers to you. So that by the time we bring you the budget this summer, y'all will be confident that we are funding what you requested.
In my opinion, I don't think it's an option to adopt a deficit budget. So,
Okay, well, if that's the opinion of the board, then we need a little direction. And because there's not a thing on here that anybody in this room doesn't argue that we need, or would like the nice to haves. Even at 4%, it would be wonderful to be able to do that with our staff, but then we can't do that without the deficit spending.
just for number purposes, the number 25 on the average per class, what does that do to our line item if you made it 28?
Generate estimated savings about $900,000. Now, truth be told, that may not be truly realized in one given year. Those would be people with contracts, so that would be as positions are vacated, we would not fill those positions. It would not necessarily yield
Best case scenario.
$900,000 in savings in 1 year.
But every little bit helps.
So is that, that's core class average. That's not all class averages across the,
Right, it is core, because I mean, when we have the marching band, I mean, that's a big class. When we have the PE.
A lot of classes are significantly smaller than that.
Yeah, we've got an AP economics class that has 4 kids in it.
Right. Yeah, we have several courses, especially when you get up to like AP foreign language course are 8, you know, because there's not that many kids that are taking AP Spanish
And there
4.
may just be 2 of them, but still, somehow, if they're also in honors band, I mean, all of them have to take that one.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, I know it's not ideal, but does that number give anybody a heartache? I mean, you're talking almost $1 million.
Class of, Dusty, as a teacher, class of 28, especially in a core class, oh, I'm sorry. As a former teacher, a class of 28 in a core class is a lot, it's too many. If it were, I mean, if you had one class of 28 and your average was 25, that's different, you see what I'm saying? I mean, but if you had 28 in every class, then that's a lot of students. But I know, because that's usually how many I taught. My class load was usually 168, which is pretty maximum.
Man, I understand that, but something's going to have to give. And, I mean,
Last year, when we went to 7 of 8, we told the teachers that they would have fewer in their class.
They did.
Last year, I'm sorry, it wasn't on the mic. When we went to 7 of 8, we told the teachers that they would have fewer students because of teaching 7 of 8.
I do think another line item of importance there is the fund balance. Maybe not 2 million. You're the financial guy and
Give us a number, he's poised here.
I mean,
That's what I was going to ask, Ryan. What, being reasonable,
$1,000,000?
what's your comfort level on the fund balance?
Oh, man, you threw the
CFO,
qualifier in of being
there is-
reasonable?
There is no. they
That's
don't
why I
have-
said
No
being
CFO will take
I would-
anything less than a year.
how many days does $1 million buy us? Because we're at 90 right now.
About one. I made about $100 million budget, so $1 million can
One
buy you
day?
a day. So, realistically, to answer your question, Mr. Rogers, I could settle for 500,000, as long as we have a plan to keep growing that, because as a district, that expenditure number is going to keep growing, so we're going to need to keep with it. That's honestly the very bottom end of my comfort.
Can we adjust it to $1 million for now?
That was my suggestion was
So we just,
Go
we
to-
can change it back.
go to $1 million.
Let's just put it at $500,000 right now, just for discussion.
He said $1 million.
Called
$1 million?
Million.
Million.
I have a question. Are there other areas that maybe we could change a little bit around?
Every campus has a certain percent of money based on the number of students and what you get if you're at high school, middle school, or elementary. So we could cut campus budgets. We could also cut departmental budgets.
Yeah.
A certain percentage, like.
You know, I'm thinking like about the state, when they come in and they say, Waxahachie, you have to cut, you know, a certain percentage. I'm wondering if there are other areas, I'm wondering if there are other areas besides the classroom that we could cut budgets.
So the general reason, and we're not really trying to pinpoint classrooms at this point, but 85% of our budget is salaries. So the biggest bang for our buck is going to be salaries. You know, and that's, you don't want to disrupt people's world. You don't want to lay people off. That's not the goal at all. We just need to make sure that we have a good comprehensive plan going forward. As Dr. Kane was saying, you know, we can constrict and we can rein in campus spending, we can rein in departmental spendings. But in all honesty, if I were to not allocate any money to any campus, we're probably saving about $3 million. But it's really not worth the headache of saying, look, we saved $3 million, but the campuses have no supplies at that point. So the biggest bang for our buck really is salaries. It's getting a handle on our staffing levels, our positions, and all those going forward, because those are the recurring expenses. One thing that we can, you know, look into, we could also go in and say, well, if we granted no additional departmental requests, you look at us a whole lot closer to being balanced.
But that would be.
That's if you get it at 28.
Yep. So, I mean, this is, if we move this to 29, I would tell you, now, we may agree to disagree over a cold Coca-Cola, but $265,000, I would tell you, is almost close enough for me to tell you it's balanced. It's really not. I know we're going to have cost underruns as we go through the budget, but these are all guesstimates at this point too. So we may have guessed high, we may refine it when we get closer to July and go, man, we really were good at that point.
Your record's
So-
pretty good, though.
I try to be.
I have a question for you on that, because you're grabbing the 3% or 4% TASB salary increase all there at one time. Very rarely in the business world are you able to all grab all of something like that and implement it at one time. Typically, that thing would happen over several budget cycles.
And I think they even recommended it.
As that to me, it is a piece of that you, just question if, if you were able to grab a piece of that, and that also doesn't grab anything for the auxiliary people down at the bottom who were an issue last year. I mean, I don't know if you can compress those numbers and grab those and help. And you're going to have to, guys, this is a fact. It's growing. It's getting bigger. There's going to have to be more kids in a room, or there's going to have to be lower salary increases. It just is what it is.
Or when people complain about the yard, if we cut down on the yard crew, then people are going to complain because our canvases look shaggy and unkempt.
Well,
And so.
the auxiliary guys haven't gotten anything in a long time. The teachers, and I used to be one, I know it, I love it, they've gotten raises every year. As of recently, and I'm not opposed to that at all, because I know they're listening, they're all going to throw rocks at me. I'm not saying don't do it, but I think you got to find out a financially responsible way to phase it in over a period of time instead of just walking in and dumping.
The only modifier, the only adjustment I would put to that is last year is the only year that staff did not get an increase.
Right.
So
But they did a
teachers
step.
got a step increase.
Everybody, you get a step increase every year.
We went up on that step increase. But prior to last year, auxiliary staff has been getting roughly a 5% increase annually.
Auxiliary has?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And that's been roughly since the time of the TRE back in 2014.
Okay.
But what's the history on administration? Because when I got here.
Administration generally gets about a 1.5% increase. And teachers, with House Bill 3 a couple of years ago, Ms. Kriegel will remember this, the teacher increase was roughly 9% across the board. And the administrative increase was about 1.5%. Not here to
And
argue
that's
for
what threw our salary
administrators, but
schedules off.
That is part of the reason you have a compressed schedule between teachers and administrators.
Because that's why a lot of people are saying, I don't want to be an administrator because it doesn't make that much more money. Or some who are there are frustrated because it's not that much more and it's more responsibility. But it's easy to say, well, anyway, it's difficult to make these decisions.
Is it
Undeserving group here.
Dr. Avid, are you able to increase that average students per classroom size, but keep a cap on it so it doesn't go nuts? Because I've been a science teacher with 33 kids in a room.
The cap is.
Can we, but.
I have two.
Yeah, I know. I knew that was a rigged question for you.
Yeah.
But it sounds really good to sit here and go, oh, average of 25. But you know what I'm saying. Fill in the blank with the number. My number is not.
Right, so I
driving the
know
discussion.
that this year, as the high school schedule, at least at the WHS, they did set a cap size per class, per type of class, Algebra 1, English 1, whatever. And that cap might have been 24. And then the average for, let's say, English 1 or Algebra was like 19.3 or something like that. I don't have it right in front of me, but it was well under 28. The maximum size class usually was around 26, maybe 27 in some. I think we had one that was 29. That's core. That doesn't count band, PE, those kind of courses where you've got more than a normal class size of kids. So, yeah, when we set that cap, we don't want to go over this. Well, sometimes that can also create as well. Now we're trying to find a place for this one kid. Now we're at 29 in a class, right, where we're really trying to stay under 28. Right. And we know we're not going to hire a teacher if we're over one student. We know that we're going to come back to you guys and say, hey, I know we want to have a cap, but we just need to know we have, and that's what we did last year several times. I think I reported like every quarter about where we were on that 28, especially at the junior high level, because I think we were looking at it closely at the junior high level. And so we did have a few classes, and this year, this fall, it was more than we had last year, but because we had teachers that were serving as online educators that had smaller groups of kids, and so we were having, as kids came in, some of our classes got a little bit larger. Typically, when you're running a master schedule at a high school, you're going to know that you may set your advanced courses like your pre-APs and your AP courses maybe a little bit larger on the front end, because we just know that there's going to be some attrition there.
Yes.
The kids are going to get in there, they're going to go, I got too much on my plate. I mean, I'm in athletics and I've got 2 AP courses and I really just want to get out of this one because I got too much. And we know that that's going to happen. And so those class averages actually come down a little bit after we get through that first 6 weeks of school. We usually have some.
And the other core classes go
And
up.
then they can have, that. So that's why we intentionally try to schedule them smaller. So to counteract that.
Even though we said little things aren't that great, but they could add up, what if, can I just play with it a minute? Because I
Sure,
like your
please.
idea of
That's,
folding it in.
that was a long
What if-
answer to please show me.
Oops, what if we leave it at 28? That's not, and then the salary 3% or 4%, and we commit to putting it in over a 3-year period. Like the first year, it would be 1.5%, and then 1.5%. Can you figure that one out, or 1%, what that would
So
be?
that's, Mr. Rogers just asked me the same general question.
Brilliant mind.
I did not. This is not my calculated number. This is straight off that task report. So no, I do not have a formula on this one to go in and do that. The one thing that I pointed out with Mr. Rogers, this was their report last year based off of the numbers at the time, not before last year's increases or this year's increases that other districts may be giving their staff as well. So it's a good number to start with, but it's probably an outdated number at this point as well.
Let's take the salary adjustment, not make that 150,000, okay? And then if we did, you've already adjusted the fund balance, additional salary increase for auxiliary employees, what do we have that down for, 2 million, make that 1 million. Oh, you've already made it to 0, better make it
So,
500,000.
this one's now a percent because of the market adjustment that's included in the
Okay.
TASB salary
So
survey.
it would
This would be on
automatically-
top of
okay,
any,
okay.
any market adjustments you wanted to make.
Okay, and that's because a request from the board, or is that because of the formula, or because of?
Well,
That is
my
on top of-
understanding of what I was hearing last time was that our auxiliary staff were super low and we needed to.
Proportionately. So if we're committed to that, then we need to leave that in. Okay, so what was that at? What was
You
it
can
at?
go, you can go 5%, 200,000.
What percent?
5%, they're paid so
Okay.
poorly, that cost isn't gonna be hard to
Okay,
get.
what was it? Okay, additional for auxiliary people,
That's not on that one.
Okay.
That was added.
okay.
I
So,
will say this, our auxiliary staff
but it's getting our numbers then, look at that.
in today's labor market are going to be leaving here in droves.
Yeah,
if
they're
we
gonna
don't
go
do
work
something.
somewhere else.
And then we're not going to find anybody,
Yes, sir.
okay? So
It's already happening.
Well, I know that's true, and so far, I don't think it's happened with administrators, but that's something, administrations are in short supply and quality people, and our staff gets calls all the time, and I'm very grateful for those who self-report and let us know that you're staying, but that would be another huge hole for us. But, that's
Dr. King?
me saying, yes, sir.
Could we maybe simplify it, and I'm just thinking out loud, maybe simplify this by administration needs to figure out what we absolutely have to have,
Okay?
and then back into it by adjusting the percentages on the salary increase.
So I agree with that, but tell me what on here is non-negotiable, because we need to put the non-negotiables in
Fund
and not
balance.
discuss.
fund
them
balance,
again.
We have
I agree
to-
with fund balance.
Okay,
Fund balance and auxiliary employees for me.
okay. Mr. McCutcheon?
And also the true anomalies.
True okay. I see the difference between anomalies and true anomalies.
Well, I mean,
Yeah, there was one that we had that first year that we actually went back and changed. It was like 35% below this equal person in like Midlothian or somewhere.
Well,
So
we-
there are some that are true and others
Yeah.
that are like, oh, a little tweak here and there.
well,
Remember that.
right, the true anomalies, like if we have a person that's making less than what she would make as a teacher and is working 2 months more,
Agreed.
that's a true anomaly.
Agreed. Okay, so I'm hearing the non-negotiables are the auxiliary at what percent? 5%? 5%. And the bond at, fund balance at $1 million? Fund balance at $1 million? Everything else, hiring the staff.
Those numbers right there get us in a positive budget. Once you have it right
Get
now.
you balanced.
Close enough.
I mean, that's
Well,
a
we
little
may have
bit.
it now.
Are you okay with that?
3%.
Okay,
That's now knowing our non-negotiables, then I can back into this number right here. And we'll go from there and we will stretch it out this year, next year if we have to, and look at what we can do from there.
2 years.
I have a
ma'am.
question. Do you happen to know offhand, maybe through the taper report, how do we compare with our enrollment in number of administrative positions? Are we close to state average? Are we below, above? Yeah, I was just curious, because I'm thinking if we're if we're above the state average, then that might be an area that we need to look at attrition or what have you as well.
And they do that for teachers and administrators, but I don't believe any other group, but we'll see, because it's all on the same page.
I did a study a few weeks ago and just compared us to Midlothian. And they have more students, but we have a lot more staff. And I know that they have their own cafeteria system, and I know that they have fewer Title I students, but there still was a big bust in the numbers. So I'm really wondering where we have more staff than what they do.
Student-teacher ratio.
Class sizes.
I mean, that will eat up a budget in a heartbeat. And I'm not arguing for it. I'm saying that takes the bite out.
I'll just say that it's not a good year for the TASB report, not to, and the TASB to have their report online, so we can do a true comparison.
I have one more question. This is just a housekeeping thing. On this staffing request that we just approved, 2.2 million, does that coincide with that
They're kind of all tied together because
hiring staff for growth?
we actually made that decision. That decision started with the principals asking what they needed, the directors asking what they needed. Then they would go to either Dr. Avery or Ms. Mott, and they had to convince them they had to have that, not a nice to have, it's a have to have. Then these two had to convince the cabinet level committee why that was a have to have, not a nice to have. And, but that was also before the bond failed. Okay, so a lot of our plans were on that. Now, did we ever tweak anything out of there, or has that been in the budget thing?
No, that's in the budget thing, but in that 2.2 million number that you approved tonight are some contingency positions that I'm not fully taking into account. I'm not assuming we're running out tomorrow and hiring every single one of them, because they're contingent for a reason. So if we have to allocate some additional resources there, then don't tell them, but some of the departments will get a little bit less of their extra request. So
And
to answer your question, yes
and they
and
can't
no.
just pick up the phone and ask it, Ms. Mott, would you tell everyone what it takes for you to get an additional person in the summer, even with people coming on campuses and your principal screaming? What do you have to do?
It hits a tipping point, and I watch them carefully, and when we get, I got a phone call today, I'm within 4 seats, and I said, okay, I'm gonna wait one more, and then we're gonna add. But we have to, it's a high-growth campus, I look at that, I look at what their history has been, how many sections they've had, but I monitor it very closely.
And the campuses call parents and say, are you coming back next? So that's different from just who withdraws or who doesn't send in their next year's, yes, I'm interested. But the good thing about a fast growth district, though, sometimes, for example, she asked for a certain number, school started, and Dr. Averett said, I don't remember where it was at the junior high, and he said, he didn't have any approved, so Ms. Mott got the bad news. Hope you don't need any more. If you do, we'll go to the board, but right now, we need somebody there, and that day, the principal hired them. So we keep a monitor on it, and we don't say, well, we've approved elementary positions. Y'all really approved a needed position. We thought it was gonna be at the elementary, but you're not a board that we have to call back and say, okay, we need to meet again because we don't need it at the elementary, but we need it at the secondary because that we move people around. So that's the kind of effort you have to go through to get additional staff or coaching. I think didn't we have an additional coach somewhere or a need for a lot of it's getting confused with online and how we had to do the online stuff. So I can't be as accurate this year because some of it was who can coach, who can teach online. But if there is a threshold. We do not just say, oh, sure, you need something, just let us know. It's quite painful. You're right there?
Yes,
oh, okay. Dr. Averett?
All right, so according to the 1920 taper.
Which is the last one we have.
Yes, ma'am. So central admin Central admin in Waxahachie ISD is 1.9%. State average is 1.1. Campus administrative or school leadership, our average is 2.6%, and the state is 3% as the average. And if you want to look at, if you're curious about admin compensations, since that question might be related to this,
I think that's Ms. Kriegel's area.
would you like me to answer the question?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Anything else is there that helps to make decisions?
I'm sorry, I lost my place.
There needs
Campus
to be a line.
campus admin, our district average 76,530. The state average is 82,512. Central administrative average is 9680. The state average is 108,367.
So we are underpaying at the campus level, administration, and at the district level. And what did you?
And if you average those numbers, we're over by .4.
Oh, no, we're not over, we are.
Yeah,
Yeah, the central was.
Central was, the other was a .4,
And campus is below by 0.4, I think it was.
about .4, okay. We're really in line.
Yeah, on the average. Of course, it doesn't feel like it if you're a campus administrator. You know, it's not. But you can't be on, it's not, you will never be. So, back to Plan C.
Plan budget.
Plan budget C. So, looking at this, and if Mr. Calden comes back with a way to implement the 3% salary increase, looking at when we put it in and what our top line number is, and it would be put in over multiple years, the fewer the multiple, the better, would you come back with a plan that as long as it still says $1,200,000 and he says, here's how it's going to be implemented, and we can keep it down to the 10,846, would that be a good framework for, would that be something y'all could live with and we could build the budget off of that? Or, I'm not making
As long as
a
it's,
commitment, but.
as long as it's a balanced budget, you have my attention.
We can work with that.
I'm just,
Okay.
All right.
So that's our
I'm one.
presentation, Mr. Autry. Are there any other questions?
I had a question. I just want to say, if there's any place, maybe we should look at staff review. I'm not for laying off employees, but if there's any place that we could trim fat, basically, you know, that we need to look at, if there is.
I would be happy to take suggestions. I
Okay.
mean,
Okay. I mean, I need the suggestions to come from y'all if there's a
Okay,
place,
okay.
you know,
We will,
look at it.
we'll look at that.
Okay.
Actually, we are kind of looking at a plan at C&I maybe that was going to save us some money if we can pull that off. But we're looking at those. I don't know if we're going to be able to do it, but we are always looking for. Good to go?
That's your pen.
any other questions?
Okay, save that.
Okay, thank you very much.
Freeze that.
Okay, next item will be item E, report on recent storm damage.
Mr. Gomez? Mr. Gomez? Yes, it's like you're the king of storms and snow. If you would update the board on the, I know there wasn't a lot of physical damage, but I think the real idea was we had some more heroes we would like to identify than just the ones that Ms. Bridges identified.
Thank you.
And kind of how it got to the camp, how we found, because this was last week while we were here at the board meeting that all this was going on.
Well, we had that big old storm. I'm sorry. Good afternoon, board. Dr. King. We had two individuals that really went out and did an awesome job for us. I'd like to call on Mr. Stephen Mott and Mr. Andy Reeves. They went out at 10:30 that evening. I think it was Tuesday evening, if I'm correct. Monday. And I asked them to go check a couple of campuses where we've gotten reports of water going in. They took it upon themselves to clean up as the water was coming in. And they managed to get Dunaway all the way done. A little while later, they go down to Turner. Turner's worse. In fact, one of the texts I sent Dr. Kane was, we may not be able to open that campus on...
That was like at 6 in the morning.
Yeah,
okay?
Tuesday morning.
We're finding out we cannot open the campus.
But I was able to
Don't do
contact,
anything yet, I'll call you back.
I was able to contact some of our auxiliary staff, and they were able to get on campus. We had about 15 or 20 people there. They came in, cleaned up the water by 6:30. I think Ms. Mott said we were able to open, and we continue. But if it had not been for these two gentlemen, we would have had serious issues. So I'm very, very proud of them. Thank you, guys. Really appreciate it. Thanks. Thank you, board.
Okay, item F, bond discussion. Darnetta, did you want to take the lead on this one? I will.
I'm guessing everybody will have input on this one, right?
Oh,
Or something. Yeah. You want me to start? Okay. Okay, I guess, so, as we know, our bond election didn't pass. I believe that we must survey, listen, research, seek out best practices from other parts of the state, and work in conjunction with folks in our community to make it work this next time. I think we can do that. We have much trust to gain, and I know we can do it if we take the time to put the right processes in place. And I've been actually calling some other districts that passed their bond issues this weekend, or last weekend. And I mean, we can surely implement some of these ideas, I think, moving forward. So I just think we have to be ready to truly listen to our teachers, staff, parents, and community as we work on our next plan for our kids. I think Jenny told me that there was going to be some kind of survey going out asking about, asking people why they voted and if they're willing to tell us why they voted one way or the other. And one thing that I noticed in calling, I talked to a couple of school districts. I talked to the superintendent at Juvenile ISD, which, speaking of storms, I know when you think of Juvenile, you think of the tornado. I talked to their superintendent. They passed a $113 million bond election. They had 2 propositions. And what I discovered is that most of them that passed were, they offered propositions. So they offered people choices. Another thing that I noticed that she mentioned to me is that they translated all their information in Spanish to help those folks. What else? Lots of good stuff. I mean, I made tons of notes. I'm happy to. They engaged their senior citizen community, which I thought was really eye-opening. I also talked to Northwest ISD. They've had a long-range planning committee in place for 20 years. They had 4 propositions, 3 of the 4 passed. Their planning committee has been active for about a year and a half before they called the bond, real active as far as bringing in financial advisors, demographers to meet with the committee. So I just think we got to, obviously, as a board, we have our work cut out for us, and I'm committed to taking the time to come up with a good plan with the input from our community, and hopefully we can, pull something together this next time.
Good.
I just say in order to pass a bond, we're going to have to engage the community. We're going to have to listen to what they have to say, going to have to address their concerns, and we're going to have to really listen to what the community wants. We're going to have to, like Melissa said, maybe form a long-range planning committee that has a wide, diverse section of our community. I know I was at Marvin, and we had about 100 people stop and ask us which door to vote at. So that told me they had never voted in a Waxahachie May election before. If they didn't know which door or where to go in the building, then, and that was 100. And what shocked me about it is it was all ages. So we're going to have to somehow find the new people, maybe through our PTOs. I don't know, but we've got to find the people, and we've really got to reach out and get a widely diverse part of the community to engage with us and let us know what the community wants and what they will support, because we have to build the support of the community and have to listen to them.
I also agree with what Ms. Kriegel and Ms. Starnader said. We have to get input. I called also a couple of school districts, and each one of them had propositions. One of them passed all four for almost $500 million. The other had 6 propositions. They passed 3 for a total of 191. But the propositions that passed were for new buildings or renovating. It was the fluff that didn't pass. So the next time, I think it's just really vital that we do the propositions so that we know exactly and line it out what each one of them is for, where all the money's going to go. The more communication, the better. And I really do think we'll be successful.
I think the one thing that's been missed in what you ladies have said, I'm sorry, my microphone's on. Was starts right here. It starts with the 7 of us right around this room, right around this table right here. We're the ones that have to be out front of this. I don't disagree that, we have to get the community involvement, but the 7 of us plus our superintendent sets the tone, sets the tone from the very beginning all the way to the end. And I'll take blame for the last one. I'll own it. I own the one 2 times back that didn't pass. But I think the 7 of us have to own it. And we have to admit that we didn't get it right. And we've got to figure out what it's going to take to get it right. And the kids are still going to be coming. There's no stopping them. No stopping them. The need's going to be there. The need's going to get bigger every day. And it doesn't start tomorrow. It's already started. In my opinion, it's already started. So community that's here, community that's listening, we need you involved. We want you involved at all levels. And I don't know what the time frame is, but I do know that the longer we wait, the bigger the problem's going to get. But that's just my 2 cents, is that it starts right here, those of us sitting around this table right here. And I'm going to challenge every one of you, including myself, to get involved and get this problem rectified. And that's all I have. Anyone else?
I hope some people are listening on the internet, and if we have some community members here, I hope you will talk to your friends, relatives, or family members. The participation in the planning of this bond was very poor. We had a lot of meetings and nobody came. And we got our own part of that maybe we didn't advertise it right. It's all posted, but I get it. Nobody's going to look at the school website because it's not a fun-filled night to go talk about it. But we do need that input. We want that input. Also, I see a lot of comments from other people about the last bond this, the last bond that, and they're referring to our current new high school. This board had nothing to do with it. I was on the board when it opened, had absolutely nothing to do with its planning. Whether you like it or don't like it, I can't take credit or blame either one. The bottom line is I can only deal with the facilities that we have now, and I can only deal with the money that we have now and the planning that we have now. I personally don't agree with the way the property tax funds school districts in the state. I can't fix that. That's fixed in Austin. But until then, we need your input, and we'll try to do our best to do a better job of notifying you so you can help. But it's very, very frustrating just to, as a board member, these 7 people spend a lot of time and effort and they don't agree on everything. and they try to get it right, and then they're continually talked about like they're dummies and don't care, and that's far from the case. So I would encourage you to come with ideas. We're all ears, because this problem is not going away. And until they change how you fund it, you just saw the budget on the screen. There's no way you can save enough money to build a school. You can't do it. The economies of scale would catch you before you ever had enough dollars saved. So if you want to know how to change it, go to your local political party and push them in Austin. Until then, we're dealing with what we're dealing with. Please come help us figure it out.
Anyone else? Last chance. Okay.
We have a meeting tomorrow at 9:30 that I think Ms. Sarnaker's going to be at as well. We can kind of start getting direction that we can bring back to other board members after that.
Okay. All right, we're going to move into our consent agenda. We have really short consent agenda items A, B, and C. Or do you know we can take these all in one motion? If there's one you'd like to remove, discuss individually, however you want to proceed.
Mr. Autry, I'd like to pull B, or the financial reports, purchase order approval, actually.
What about items A and C, fine?
Yes.
So how about you ask him your question that you have, and then if you're okay, we'll just approve it all at one time.
Okay, that's fine. I just had a question about the, and I'm going to say it wrong, I'm not an elementary teacher ever, but Promethean boards, what are they? And I guess, where are we in those as far as providing them for schools?
All right, good questions. I'm going to oversimplify this as I've not been in education, a teacher. They're essentially interactive TVs that are in the classroom as part of the instructional environment. And so as we're building campuses, that was a request, that was an addition in Simpson, that they have these Promethean TVs. They're also at Turner. That was part of the high-quality pre-K grant that got them into Turner when it was all pre-K. What you're seeing, this purchase order is technology has partnered with the campuses to say, if you have an interest in having Promethean boards in your classrooms, we will find some funds to split it 50-50 with you, but you got to find the other half of the funds to put those boards in classrooms a whole lot faster than just one campus at a time over a 9 or 10 year rotation on an elementary cycle.
And I believe technology suggested we step back from putting in projectors and go to Promethean boards.
So this would be replacing those short throw projectors with their 5-year lives. And most of these campuses, I believe, were at the end of that 5-year life looking at a wholesale replacement of those projectors in those classrooms.
Okay. I guess my question is, so you're saying that the other campuses didn't want to use part of their funds to buy Promethean boards? Is that what I'm hearing, or?
Honestly, I can't tell you exactly how technology went through it. They may have just targeted the campuses that were at the end of the projector life and were due for a projector replacement.
Okay.
That would be my assumption, given there's no way that we'd be able to replace every single elementary projector with Prometheans in a single year.
Right.
But I can get you an answer.
Prometheans have become the standard that everybody wants to have.
I understand.
We do still have a lot of campuses that the short throw projectors are working just fine. So I think as campuses are making that a priority, and they've been able to save some money this year from their budgets because we haven't had, bus trips anywhere, all sorts of things that haven't gone on this year. So they scraped that money together. It was their choice. It was not, technology didn't seek them out. But they started talking to technology about how they could support them in this, and they were able to do a half and half type thing with them. So it's totally campus choice, depending on what they had left in their budgets.
Okay, I just wondered because our poor campuses are not represented in getting these Promethean boards, and I just wondered if, that was what the issue was. I mean, because the priority. So it was the principal's priority.
Yes,
with their
that's
budget.
probably based on what they had left in their budget, but also on the age of their technology in their building, too.
Okay.
Some of them have much newer equipment, and so it may not have been as urgent to them to replace them.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's the things I don't know, but I
Right.
mean, I
But,
just
you know,
do.
as they hear about this, I'm sure they're going to, try in the future to get those Prometheans. They are fabulous.
Well, as they are our more impoverished campuses, maybe they could find a grant, or there are grants out there, I assume, for things like this, so maybe they could.
I know that PTOs have been very helpful in that as well. They have, they've done things like that in the past. When we got the projectors and we thought they were the end-all be-all, they were very helpful in those things too.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, at this time, I'll entertain motion to approve consent agenda items A, B, and C.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. McCutcheon, second by Ms. Zimmerman. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. Motion carries 7-0. All right, consideration action to approve memorandum of understanding with the Ellis County Juvenile Board for the creation of the Ellis County Juvenile Justice Alternative Education Program. Mr. Augenstein.
Thank you, Mr. President. Our county has finally grown to the population number that can't be denied. There has been, in the education code, a population bracket that would have brought Ellis County to the threshold to have a Juvenile Justice Alternative Education Program, or JJAEP, 10 years ago. Legislation moved that number up to 180,000, and Ellis County's population, once the census is certified, will meet that threshold. So we've been working with the county for more than 2 years to bring the Juvenile Justice Center to life. We now are seeing that work come to fruition. The Ellis County Juvenile Board approved its side of this MOU that's before you tonight. Each school district in the county is now approving it this month to create the JJAEP. The JJAEP will be under the direction of the county Juvenile Justice Department. The governing body, the certifying agency for the JJAEP is the Texas Juvenile Justice Department, the TJJD. The county will be funding the JJAEP and funding the education for all of the mandatory placements. Each local district that sends a discretionary placement will pay a daily amount for a discretionary placement. In the first year of the JJAEP, the budget and the constraints will allow for up to 24 students. But the facility generally is big enough to house 48 students, and we believe it will grow over time to house that number. And we believe, if successful, will continue to grow. But we will be working with the Juvenile Probation Department and the leader of the JJAP to make it as successful as we possibly can. We'll be working with our friends in other school districts throughout the county. Dr. Kane has grown phenomenal relationships with the superintendents, has allowed me to meet with superintendents, allowed Dr. Averett to meet with superintendents, Dr. Averett, Ryan Calden, myself, meeting with various administrators in the large school districts. The large school districts are mainly the ones that speak up the most in the meetings, Midlothian, Red Oak, Ennis, because we'll be sending the most kids to the center. But Ferris, Maypearl, Palmer, you name it, have been active as well. And all of us are looking forward to this being in reality. So genuinely expecting a September start date for the JJAEP to closely coincide with the beginning of school for next year. Some of that's will be in the hands of TJJD, but tonight I urge approval of this memorandum of understanding, and we will be working throughout the year. We'll bring you reports so that you know how well it's working from Waxahachie ISD's perspective, how well it's working as a whole, and what may be taken in the future to help it grow and help it be more successful.
I don't have a question, but I do have a comment. Excuse me. Excuse me, having throat problems. As a person who's had to expel students in the past, your heart always goes out to those kids because after you expel them, they have no place to go. And so it's like you've thrown their future out the window. And we have hoped and prayed that this Ellis County would get big enough for this to happen. So I'm overjoyed that these kids are going to get a second chance.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Ms. Timmerman. And for these kids and for society as a whole. Ultimately, a idle child that has no longer been determined to be fit for school, that's a drain on society. And this is an opportunity for that child to work towards successful completion of education, potentially return to the school district, to graduate from the school district, or otherwise graduate from the JJAP. But the opportunity's there because that expulsion order's an annual order. It lasts for 1 year.
Is there a certain person that's supposed to be assigned? Oh, you know that meeting that everybody goes to? It's usually an administrator. It's always superintendent. President or designee is one of them. Mr. Audrey wanted to do it, and not us. But that means there would be no administrator there.
You need to send an administrator to that.
The board doesn't need to appoint a designee, but when the JJAP begins working this summer in earnest, the school districts will be sending administrators to help the JJAP formulate a plan. And so that will ultimately be the superintendents of each district or the designated superintendent.
Their guys, their person who's over secondary.
Correct. That doesn't require board action.
Usually, right, usually the first half a year, it's the superintendent and the secondary person, but once it gets running, because then it's those questions like, okay, should a child be expelled, and do they get to go back to the district? What do we do whenever they misbehave in JJAP? And then that would be the person closest to the campus, which would be the position that Dr. Atkins is.
What you're binding the district to do is each district superintendent will ultimately be responsible, but that superintendent of each district can designate himself, herself, or an administrator to go attend on behalf of the district. The districts are all agreeing to participate.
I guess I'm confused because this page that we have where it says Board of Trustees, President or Designee. Yeah, the very last page of the board book, so that's why I'm confused. Thank you.
That's where I have to sign it.
Oh, that's just for
That's just signature.
So that's for.
That's the
just
signature
Audrey
to approve
sign.
the MOU.
Okay, it's not, I thought we were appointing somebody to the committee. Okay.
And that's because this is being, Judge Carroll ultimately drafted with me many components of this MOU because each school district may not have its board president at its meeting. So let's say Avalon, let's say Milford doesn't have its board president, but the board approved it 5-0, 6-0. Then it would be someone that the board approves to sign, but the default would be the board president to sign the agreement.
I'm sorry, since we had no discussion of this, I thought that I read it wrong. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Kriegel.
Okay, at this time, I'll enter. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve action item A as presented. By Ms. Timmerman.
Second.
Second by Mr. Rogers. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. Motion carries 7-0. And I need a motion to adjourn.
I second.
Second by Ms. Kriegel. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion carries 7-0.